Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're finding this. This video, this message has been coming through for about a week now, and this will be timeless. This will be when you find it, is when you need it. That is always my intention, that the work that I'm doing or who I'm working with, how we're working together, it's always divinely guided. The intention has always been who needs me finds me. And I feel like this is the same intention for this message. Who needs this message finds this message. Again, this message feels like it's been coming for about a week, maybe even longer. For those of you who are going to watch this right around January 9th, 10th, when it gets posted, and you've been following me for a while, you know that for the past month, I've been not as consistent or as regular, that I really kind of stepped back. And I feel like it's because the work that I'm doing is changing. I feel like this energy that we're in is shifting all of us. So shifting consciousness, shifting focus, shifting where we are in our lives. Yes, it's the beginning of 2025. This is a 9 year. This is endings, rebirthings, really is what it is. And that's what I'm feeling like this and energy that I'm picking up on is spirit wanting to come in, my spirit guides wanting to come in and talk about this shift in consciousness from the very 3D lower vibrational frequency that the planet has been in for a long time and shifting into this 5D frequency. And for some of you, you may not even know what that means, and that's okay. Because what this video more is about, will reference the macro, what's going on in the collective or the world, but really it's about what's going on within each and every one of us. And I feel like that's the message for us. So if you're someone that's really struggling, you're really feeling different, you're feeling like things are falling apart or falling together or coming together in a very unexpected way for you, this message is for you because that's exactly what's going on. Many people have been struggling with real big things just happening in their lives, whether it's people are crossing over and leaving, through illness, through unexpectedness, through accident, however they're crossing over onto the other side of the veil. It's because they are just feeling ready, or their soul contract is up, or for some, they're just deciding, this is too much, or I just have to go. I can be more beneficial on the other side to the people and the situations in my life. Um, we all have a soul contract. We all have a purpose and a mission. Um, this past year, I've been using the word mission interchangeably with purpose, because I do feel like light workers really came in to be soldiers of light. So we have a mission, and that mission is to ascend and to help the planet ascend. And that has happened through our very individual roles, our very individual missions, our very individual challenges and growth and evolution and awakening and ascension and whatever you want to call it, right? That's what's been going on. And so I feel like we've had Archangel Metatron here, we've had Archangel Michael here, really everyone, Archangel Daniel, Archangel Gabriel, Barakael, Sandalphon, Uriel. We've had a lot of archangels coming in to aid us in this transition. This is unparalleled, uncharted times. This really has never happened before. In the past, hundreds of thousands, millions of years, we've always had a catastrophic event that kind of took us back to the beginning. And we're not having that this time. We're not having that catastrophic event that's going to take us back to resetting the planet and beginning again. We're ascending and we're going into 5D consciousness. And what that is that's a very internal shift for each and every one of us on the planet. Those who are leaning into the shift, and because you're the light worker, because you are the person that came in with the mission to help this. And for some of you, your missions have been very different. For some of you, your missions have been very subtle, to just be the way shower in your family, to just be the way shower in your experience. for the people around you. For others, it was to receive messages and share them. As daunting as that has felt, as uncomfortable as that has been. For some, it's to even on a bigger platform, a bigger stage, right? But I've been aligning this past 6 months with people who, they don't have the biggest platforms, but it's it's noticeably big, right? It's people who are really starting to become more mainstream that are really helping us shift. And whatever my role is my role. But the intention has always been those who need me find me, and that's kind of where we're going to stick to that intention, right? So, really, the message has become that the polarity of your experience that you came in with, the polarity of victimization, the polarity of unworthiness, the polarity of abuse, the polarity of despair, neglect, right? And I'm calling them polarities because they always pulled you to react in a certain way and to gravitate to similar situations over and over again. So many of you have had this pattern of continuing to be in the same situation, even though it's different people. Maybe it does feel a little different, but at the end of the day, the energy is the same. And what's happening is the polarity or the energy in your sphere of consciousness is changing. The sphere of consciousness that you've always kind of hooked into of victimhood, um, lack, not deserving, um, neglect, abuse are shifting. And for many of you, you're now coming into this period or this experience of connection that is now helping you with your mission. So coming into connection with your higher self. Um, Diana Cooper calls it your monad, um, the angelic realm, maybe even the other dimensions, the dragons, the angels, the mermaids, the elementals, unicorns, Pegasus. Because we're getting a lot of energy and help from interdimensional beings. And so for some of you, you are hearing that voice within you that is not your voice, right? And you're struggling with that. But that is your oversoul coming in. It is your guides coming in to help you with your mission. And this is a connection that is very well established with you in that being or angel on the other side. So this polarity that's going on within you, this polarity of what was, all those things I mentioned, right, is now shifting into this new polarity where you're being pulled. The energy's pulling you into success, into partnership, into your tribe, your community. My last video actually was titled "Coming into Community." So again, I feel like this message has been coming for weeks now. And so within you, you feel very different. What you want to eat feels very different. Where you want to go feels very different. Who you want to be around feels very different. Um, because your energy signature is not being pulled to the 3D polarity anymore. It's being pulled to the 5D polarity, the unity consciousness, the compassion, the clarity that that connection brings you. This 5D connection brings you a clarity. So you can't unsee people's motives, why situations were the way they were. You can't unsee other people's energy and however that's manifested for them, whether it's victimhood, addiction, um, greed, lust, narcissism, whatever that looks like for them, right? You can't unsee it, but you can't do anything about it either, other than pray for them, other than energetically trying to help them as much as you can so that they can then make the shifts, right? If they're going to. And that's the thing that sometimes we have to recognize, that we have to surrender this idea that we can force anyone to do or be anything. All we can do is be the model. All we can do is send the energetic help, the prayers, right? And it does make a difference. It truly, truly does. So, what you're experiencing on the inside is this polarity shift of where your energy has been drawn to in the past and where your energy is going now. And that shift is going to continue to pull you out of the old and into this new, right? And is it going to continue to feel uncomfortable? Absolutely. Is it going to continue to bring in the sadness and the grief? Absolutely. Because again, there are situations and people that you are just going to have to let them be where they are. Not easy sometimes, not easy, especially if this is your child, or this is your parent, or this is your family member, or this is your best friend from 40 years, right? You grew up together. Whatever it is, this is what's going on. This polarity shift is revealing, lots of revealing going on, motivations, desires, and some of them are okay, some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. And so you can't ignore this difference anymore. You can't let go of who they are versus who you are or who you're becoming. And for some people, they're really going to try to attach to that old version of you and pull you back into that old version. So for some of you, you really are going to have to set some very strong boundaries, and that may be very uncomfortable for you. But setting those really strong boundaries is going to allow you to shift more easily. Because if you stay in the dynamic of struggle and competition and really allowing people to upset you, this process is going to be harder and it's going to take longer. And we don't want to do that. Because what's happening is that you shift into this 5D consciousness from this 3D. The 5D consciousness is unity consciousness. The 5D consciousness is cooperation consciousness. So within you, you want to be beneficial to others. You want to help others. You want to bring people with you to have the experiences that you're having and the success that you're having and the money that you're having and the whatever you're having, right? Whatever it is. You want everyone to experience that because that's the unity consciousness. And all you can do to bring them along is to model, is to set the boundaries for those that do not respect you, cannot respect you, will not respect you, to kind of go in their own direction. And we love them and we pray for them, but we surrender that is their role. That is their contract. And we grieve that, right? That loss. That loss. And sometimes for those that are here to be kind of buoyed by you, they will come along. They will step into their power. They will start to ascend awaken, heal, but all you can do is try to buoy the process along. Um, you can't help per se, right? But you can help buoy the process along. Maybe you bring them the book. Maybe you bring them the name of someone who's helped you. Maybe you allow them the space and the grace to make the changes, right? You can play a supporting role, but it has to be supporting. It can't be partnering. That if they're going to heal and change and grow, most of it, 99% of it has to be their own inner being driving that train. And they have to learn how to trust and act on that inner being. And that's this polarity shift, getting into connection with that inner being, that spark of divinity that relies within themselves. You can call it God, you can call it Christ consciousness, but we all have it. We all have it. And for many of you, you're starting to really lean into it, which is beautiful. But it is changing your experience. It cannot not change your experience. You're gonna change, you're gonna grow, you're gonna ascend, right? So one of the beautiful byproducts of this transformation and coming into unity consciousness, there's gonna be many, but I think the one that we're feeling first is the ability to step into becoming a master manifester. Because when you're living in love, when you're living in the highest frequency for the majority of the time, I mean, we're human, we have our foibles, right? But when you're living primarily, mostly in this unity consciousness, you're drawing things into your experience and it's starting to flow to you. And because this is a new area for you, because you were someone who has always had to climb and work and grow and evolve, and I'm just seeing you like climbing this ladder that just never ends, right? Just always one more thing, one more challenge, one more obstacle. And Spirit's like, that's over. Are you going to have obstacles and challenges? Absolutely. But are they going to be this arduous, awful thing? No. Because what you bring now is the wisdom of all the experience that you've been through. And so now overcoming things becomes easier, more graceful, more graceful. And so it's a beautiful thing. But as a master manifester, staying in those high frequencies of joy and love is what is bringing everything in and flowing it to you. And so for some of you, there's going to be a lot of success. There's going to be a lot of resource. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. So this is where it's really important to not block it for the fear of the other shoe's going to drop. This can't last. It's not sustainable, because it never has been. That's my experience. But this is this polarity shift, right? You haven't had this experience before. So that's why it's so important to stay in higher frequency, in gratitude. The easiest, highest frequency to get into is gratitude, right? 12 things every day you're grateful for. Get into gratitude. I've actually been very busy lately, and I haven't really had the time, the energy, or the opportunity to gratitude journal. I know that sounds silly, but a lot going on behind the scenes here. Changes, evolution, ascension. So before I fall asleep, just as I'm about to fall asleep, I'm like, thank you, 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 thank you. So that's the energy I'm taking into the theta state that's helping me to continue to manifest, right? So why I'm bringing this up, because you're all experiencing it or going to experience it. But in the last couple of months, I've been having these angelic guidance sessions. And one of the messages that the angels have been bringing through pretty consistently is stay in joy. Now, when you've got someone in front of you who's got, health issues, They're dealing with family health issues, they've got financial issues, they've got job issues, they're losing their job, they're changing their situation, they're losing relationships, they're breaking up homes, like, real big stuff, right? And I'm sitting there going, "Stay in joy." And I'm not being facetious at all. And I'm trying to help educate and convey that the way that you're going to be able to transform your situation into the right job, the right partner, sustainable success, overcoming health, right? Is staying in joy because that's the highest frequency. It's right up there with universal source love. And they kind of go hand in hand. So maybe I should just be talking about staying in love, but again, that can sound woo woo, right? That can sound like pie in the sky, right? And I think that's what's really important right now is for everyone to understand that that's not pie in the sky. That's not woo woo. That's we live in a vibrational frequency. Everything has a frequency. The camera I'm looking at, the box holding the incense, the candle behind me, it all has a frequency. You have a frequency and it's raising. And as we continue to understand that we are frequency first, that is how the law of attraction works, the law of correspondence works, all the laws. It's frequency. That's why people who maybe aren't the best kind of people are able to manifest. They figured out that it's a frequency. So that's why when people ask me, why is so and so who's done these horrible things, they're cheaters, they're this, they're that, but they always land on their feet. They figured out how to manifest. They figured out that if I put out the intention of what I want and I stay in the high frequency of love, even if it's self love, it's love. They're going to draw to them what it is that they want. So for many of you, you can't figure out how your ex narcissistic abuser keeps landing on their feet because they figured out how to manipulate the frequency of the universe. And now we got to get us, the light workers, not manipulating it, but working it, using it, because it's not a bad thing at all. It's why we're here. And so when the angels bring through the message of joy, be in joy. I'm not being facetious. I'm not sloughing off your despair at all. What I'm trying to help you do is understand that as the joy of frequency can help you overcome any issue you're bringing to me, whatever it is. And you don't have to stay in it 24/7. We're human. That's not going to happen. But if you can get into that 3 to 5 seconds a day, couple times a day. And that's why the present moment is so important. Because if you can find one thing that you're doing that brings you absolute joy for a couple minutes, you've accomplished what you needed to accomplish to keep the manifestation going, to keep things flowing to you. So sitting outside and drinking that cup of coffee and just allowing joy to fill you, or a hobby, painting or crocheting or whatever it is. What is that little thing in your life that you could do that wouldn't take up a whole lot of time? Journaling? That brings me joy, and I definitely have to make sure I'm making the opportunity for that, right? It sounds silly, but really there's been so much going on here. Good things, but we only have so much energy in a day. We have only so much hours in a day. And that's been my goal for the rest of this month, to get things organized and routine established so we can get into making sure that we're getting all of the important stuff done and then all of the really important stuff done. Because the really important stuff is the getting into joy every day. That's the really important stuff. Because that brings all the important stuff to you. the money for the bill, the right person to be your partner, the right job, the right networking opportunity to bring you the information that you need to overcome the hurdle you haven't been able to overcome on your own, the right mentor, the right coach, the right healer, whatever it is, right? Your polarity within you is shifting, and that is why you're tired. That's why you've got it getting headaches. You're shifting. Your cells are shifting. Your DNA is shifting. You're becoming lighter. Take the time you need. Honor your body. Honor your body. Honor your mental state. Honor your emotional state. Honor your energetic state. Because again, this is a timeless video, and each and every one of you who see this is going to come to it when you need it. And I'm honored and humbled to bring these messages through. I truly am. And I thank you for being with me on this journey. Thank you.